Hello and welcome back to Cinderella Phenomenon episode 5. I clicked on the screen a little too soon and it brought me to a different... Hold on, Kitty's got a thing in her mouth. No! You give that here! No! You give that here! No! 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 Got it. Haha. I feel like a babysitter. I cannot believe I have to search for Rod. This is only slightly better than being dragged around by that broom. I turn around the corner and nearly bump into someone. I take a few steps back just in time. Fritz! Princess? There we go, I don't know. I look up in shock. Fritz's surprise mirrors my own. Oh! Oh, but you remember me, which means that either you're magical or you're cursed. Ooh. What have you been? I've been looking for you everywhere. He pauses to stare at my clothing. Why are you wearing the maid's uniform? Fritz, you remember who I am? I will never forget you, Princess Gaia. Princess Gaia. But it does seem like I'm the only one who remembers you. What is going on, Princess? The only people who remember me are the witches, fairies, and... Fritz, are you... I stop when I hear the sound of the approaching footsteps. Fritz turns at the sound and then stoops low into a formal bow when he sees Rod. Your Highness. Rod's impassive face twists with annoyance when he sees me. Rod does not even acknowledge Fritz as he walks past him to stop in front of me. Should you be attending to my sister? I don't understand. Prince Rod, do you know why the princess is dressed like this? Rod is clearly just as surprised as I am that Fritz remembers me. You recognize her? You remember the princess too? But if you do, why didn't you say anything when she first went missing? And can someone please explain to me why she's attending to Princess Emmeline? This is... Fritz. I cut him off before he can ask any more questions. I feel Rod's gaze on my back as I turn to look at Fritz. No more questions. But Princess! Right now, I am a palace maid. A what? It's a long story and I have no time to explain now, so do not ask. Fritz is clearly discontent. He seems to struggle for a few moments before he finally sighs and nods. Yes, Your Highness. Though it is nice to hear someone here speak my title, it will not do if Fritz calls me that on accident. It is just Gaia for now. But... I turn to face Rod. Emmeline is waiting. What? The guard could not even deliver her message? Where are you going? Emmeline wants to visit her friend's shop in town and she wants you to go with us, Rod. Town? Ordinarily, I wouldn't mind Fritz joining us, but right now, he might just be unnecessary company. He may very well give me away. Rod barely wants to speak with me when it's just the two of us. I doubt Fritz would make him more sociable. I'm assuming that accompanying you is not an option at this point. Yes. Fritz looks down for a moment before looking at Rod. I'm sorry to ask this of you, Your Highness, but since she refuses to let me do so, please look after Princess Gaia in my place. Ridiculous. I do not need to be coddled. Even if I did, Rod couldn't care less if I'm hurt. I will do my best, Sir Fitzgerald. I cannot tell if he's being genuine or not. Fritz bows to the both of us. Stay safe, Gaia. And you, Your Highness. Rod turns and begins to walk away without another word. Come on. Rod is silent as we make our way back to the palace gates. I'm still thinking about what he said to Fritz earlier. Why would Rod agree to Fritz's request? Because he just wanted him to leave? I stare at Rod's back as he walks in front of me. Sometimes I cannot figure out what he's thinking. Rod, Gaia! Emmeline beams when she catches sight of us. Are you ready? Rod crosses his arms. He does not look very happy with his sister. Even though Rod is younger, I cannot help but think that he often sounds like the older of the two. I am busy, Eberlane. I can't keep dropping everything whenever you want to leave the palace. I'm sorry, but I just really needed some fresh air today. You could get plenty of fresh air on the palace grounds. I felt I needed to be off the palace grounds. Emerlane's face drops as she looks down at the ground. Rod lets out an exasperated sigh before stepping inside the carriage. Come on. Rod? Just for an hour, okay? Thank you. Emerlane's kind of my customer service voice. I soon come to realize that it is easier to walk around town now that everyone has forgotten who I am. The atmosphere around town feels brighter. All the spiteful stares are gone. Princess Emerlane! Oh, how are you doing? Is your wife feeling better? How do you remember? There's too many people to remember Emerlane. Emerlane has responded to most of the people who know her. She seems to know a good majority of the people in town. I hang back as Emerlane speaks with the man. The night escort hovers somewhere nearby, watching for disturbances. We're going to take longer than an hour if she continues like this. I am not going to rush her. Don't you need to return to the palace to continue whatever work it is that you were doing? Rod raises an eyebrow at me. I do have to get back to my studies, but my family always comes first. Oh. If this makes Emerlane happy, then I'll gladly come with her to town. It's a small thing. Happy? I look more closely at Emerlane. She is smiling, but then she always smiles. I do not understand. More at ease talking to the townsfolk sometimes because they don't judge her. Why would she have to worry about being judged? It's clear that everyone adores her. Emerlane takes the man's hand in hers as she wishes him well. Rod points out the gesture. See that? That's goodness. You could learn something from my sister, Gaia. Is goodness pretending to be interested in the lives of strangers? Emerlane eventually says her goodbyes before walking toward a familiar store. This is the toy shop I visited with Emerlane and Rod before. I glance at Rod and notice the expression on his face. He seems conflicted. But why? Before I can ask, Rod marches in front of me and decisively pushes open the door. Ding dong, we're inside. When I enter, Emerlane is already hugging the shop girl, Viorica. I don't remember what voice I gave her. Ah! Emerlane, you look as lovely as ever. Oh, please, I look the same. You, on the other hand. Emerlane steps back before nodding, a bright smile on her face. Being in love suits you. When is the wedding? Wedding? She's already engaged? I catch a small movement out of the corner of my eyes and turn to glance at Rod. I notice his fingers clench into a fist before he quickly hides his hand behind his back. I don't know. This is probably not an LGBT plus game, but like, what if she is in love with her friend and like it kills her a little inside? Because like, it's like, oh, I love you, and I'll let you live your life. I can't force you to love me too. Though his expression is as impassive as always, I notice a tenseness in his shoulders. Desmond and I haven't set a date yet, but it should be soon. Viorica trails off when she notices the rest of us. Hello, Rod. Viorica. His tone is unsurprisingly static. Last time he was here, I was sure he sounded friendlier. So, what can I help you with, Emerlane? Looking for another doll? There we go. Another doll? But Emerlane is not interested in dolls. Oh no, I'm just here to see you. I can't stay for long since Rod has things to do. Emerlane, I'll wait for you outside. Okay. I know it's my job to follow Emerlane around, but I'm not at all interested in hearing her talk to this girl. Does she even want me here? Rod would be mad if we went outside. But I want to know what the deal is. But if we leave Emerlane... We'll stay with Emmerlane. Before I can decide what I want to do, Emmerlane has turned to look at me with a smile. Does that mean I didn't really have a choice? This is Gaia. She's just started working as my personal maid today. It was not like you to make a maid follow you around. Emmerlane's expression quickly becomes apologetic. I'm sorry, Gaia. I realize I didn't even ask if you wanted to come with us. I just expected you to tag along. Why is she apologizing? I'm meant to tend to her regardless of where she is unless she dismisses me. I'm sure Gaia doesn't mind. It's such a beautiful day after all. Emmerlane turns to me and smiles. You don't have to wait with me if you don't want to, Gaia. I won't be long. I only wanted to see Viorka for a bit. I haven't been able to see her as often since I've moved. Well, that's to be expected. Princesses shouldn't be associating with shop girls like me. Viorka has a point. Why does Emmerlane insist on this? But you're my best friend. I'm still not accustomed to the fact that I can't just visit you every day. Those were the good old days, when we were still neighbours. I'd still live next to you if I could. Do you remember all those games of tag we used to play together when we were children? Remember how Rod always lost? The two girls laughed together at the shared memory. I try not to roll my eyes. So they were all childhood friends. Are you sure there's nothing I can help you with? We all turn at the sound of the door chimes as a customer walks in. Excuse me. One moment. Viorka turns to Emmerlane with a guilty expression. I'm so sorry, but I have to take this. Her voice has been through so many metamorphizes since I've stuttered. So we're gonna keep doing it, I guess. No, it's all right. I'll come see you another time. Promise, we can talk for as long as you want next time. Emmerlane smiles and hugs her friend in farewell. I follow closely behind Emmerlane as she exits the shop. Rod pushes away from the wall that he had been leaning against once he notices us leaving. Ready to go? Emmerlane nods with a small smile. The two of us begin to make our way to the palace again. By the time we return to the palace, every evening has fallen. I hope we're not late for dinner. The minute the carriage doors open, we are greeted by two familiar faces. Sir Alcaster and Sir Mithros stand before us. Hey,
Princess Emmeline, Prince Rod, I was on my way to look for you when Sir Mithros informed me of your whereabouts.
He glares at the knight escort and the knight shrinks back. Sir Alcaster turns sharply to me afterwards, his eyes narrowed. Why is he looking at me like that?
It was getting late and Queen was worried.
I'm so sorry.
Princess Emmeline, Prince Rod, it is almost time for dinner. Please let me escort you inside.
Sir Mithros gestures for them to follow him. I'm about to follow after them when Sir Alcaster suddenly moves to block my path. His eyes are cold. He opens his mouth to say something, but then closes it and shakes his head.
You are dismissed, girl. You may go back to your quarters.
But
that is an order.
His gaze is piercing. Even when I was the princess, I was not able to stand up to that gaze. Yes, sir. After dinner, I make my way back to the room assigned to me. As I walk down the hall, I notice Rod heading in my direction. Rod? He suddenly grabs my arm and pulls me away down the hall. Dang, a lot of arm grabbing in this route. Where are you taking me? Rod does not answer and just continues moving until we reach an unfamiliar door. What is going on? Rod cuts me off by placing a finger to my lips. He looks around warily before finally pulling me in through the door with him. Are we in the dungeon? This place. I've heard of this place before, but never seen it. Is this the secret passage that leads into town? Rod does not answer me. He simply keeps walking and I see no other option but to trail after him. How is it that you know this place? He still refuses to answer. Are you deaf? Rod suddenly stops and I bump into his back. I stumble back with a scowl. You ask too many questions. Because you refuse to answer any of them. I glare back at him until Rod makes an exasperated sound. Ugh, Lady Parfait is the one who told me about this passage. It makes sneaking out of the palace easier. Parfait? She did not give me any explanation to how she knew of this place. There are only meant to be 2 copies of the keys. The king has one and Sir Alcaster has the other. Then why do you have a key? Don't tell me you stole it from the king. I am not a thief. Lady Parfait also had a copy. She saw fit to provide me with a key for my own use. What? How does Parfait have a key to this palace? You'll have to ask her that yourself. Once we step into town, I realize where it is that we're headed. We're going back to Marchin. Delora is the first person we see as soon as we enter the Marchin. Well, well, look what the cat dragged in. Delora, you... Rod's glare silences me. He steps forward and points back at me, gaze icy. She is not staying at the palace. What? Delora raises an eyebrow. Why is that? She works there now. I do not know what game you're playing, but I will not be part of it. Excuse me, this is not a game. I do not want you meddling in my life as you meddled with hers. The room's temperature drops several degrees. Dolores stares at Rod, her expression suddenly lacking any emotion. With all due respect, Your Highness, I do not want to meddle with your wallowing. But just because you do not wish to break your curse doesn't mean that others shouldn't want to either. You should be humbled that our princess here thought you would be able to help her. Rod raises an eyebrow. Where is Lady Parfait? Of course you want to talk to Parfait, because she puts things nicely. Fine, I'll fetch her for you. Delora curtsies as she sweeps out of the room. Rod sighs. He clearly looks irritated, but doesn't put a full voice to his agitation. I can't talk! Now that we're alone in the empty room, the silence is deafening. And so I ask him the question that has bothered me since we came here. Why do you want me out of the palace? Why do you not want to break your curse? Why do you not want to break your curse? I don't need to explain myself to you. Do you even know how to break your curse? I do. So why are you not doing anything? It's none of your business. I do not realize the anger inside of me at first, and then I notice that my hands are fists and that I'm shaking. You are angry at me for treating your family with unkindness, and yet you do not treat me with any respect or kindness either. Excuse me? I realize that this is the angriest I've felt in a long time, and it makes words fall out of my mouth. You are guilty of the same disrespect you hold me accountable for. We are both being cruel to family, aren't we? She admitted that we're family. We admit that we are family. Yeah. Rod's eyes are ablaze as he stalks towards me. He stops right in front of me, his mouth pressed into a firm line. As you are so fond of telling Eberlane, we do not share any blood. The only thing pulling us together is the king, and you do not share his morals. Remember this, Gaia. You will never be a part of my family, and I will never see you as a sister. Rod storms out of the reception area just as Delora enters. Sorry, looks like Parfait wasn't in. She pauses, then gives me a wry smile. Seems this partnership's going well. Throw my hands up in anger. Oh, he's infuriating. Not as helpful as you thought? I was surprised you were asking for his help in the first place. All I've been doing today is following around Emmeline, and he still finds reason to snap at me. In his eyes, I can do nothing right, even though I'm making an honest effort to break my curse. Delora eyes me as she slides down into a chair. Has he told you anything about his curse? Only that he knows how to break it. Delora sighs. Boys can be so secretive about the silliest things. Rod has been aware of how to break his curse from the very beginning. Then
why hasn't he broken it? I have no idea. I think the only other person who knows the full terms and conditions of Rod's curse is Parfait. Parfait? Parfait has known Rod for a while. She convinced him to keep coming to the march, and even after he gave up on breaking his curse. Parfait also thinks that working with you will convince Rod to try finding another way to break his curse. Another way? Don't ask me. I don't know much about his curse either. But if you keep trying, you might convince Rod to talk. I doubt that very much. It seems that all I'm doing is convincing Rod that I do not deserve a break to break my own curse. Delora looks at me curiously for a few moments. Then she grins. I have an idea. If it's another terrible idea... Oh no! This one's much better. I'll just stick around with you, you know? Watch out for you. What? Delora, watch out for me? Is she gonna be a doll again? Yay! I'm surprised when Delora suddenly stands before me in her doll form. There is no way you and Rod are going to sort yourselves out without some sort of help, so I'll be tagging along. It's much easier when I'm travel-sized, Why do I feel like she'll only make things worse? Come on, then. Delora somehow manages to jump into the front pocket of my apron, which is thankfully large enough to fit her doll body. Let's go find us a prince and get ourselves back to the palace. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Chapter 4. One step forward. Whoops! It has been more than a week since Rod and I returned to the margin. He's been avoiding me ever since that day. Not that we have much cause to be around each other nowadays. Constantly on my feet preparing for Emerlane's ball. This is ridiculous. Better to be busy than bored, princess. I stop for a moment to better balance the pile of fabrics that I am carrying. One of the maids has ordered me to bring this to a designated room so that it can be sorted out. I'm being reduced to fetching and carrying. I've made no progress on accomplishing my first good deed. I doubt that simply following orders from the other maids will help me get my first good deed. I feel a shuffling in my pocket and then notice Delora peeking her porcelain face out. Better to obey rather than disobey, at least. You're not going to get a good deed being stubborn. Anyway, you've got to put yourself out there a bit more, princess. You can't just do whatever is convenient for you. That's not good. Delora has been no help at all. Wait, I recognize this place. Isn't this where your room is? I stop in front of the door to my old bedroom. Ever since I came here, I have been ignoring this place, not wanting to see what the king did to it during my absence. Do you want to go in? Why should I? It's not as if it's my room anymore. You're no fun. Aren't you curious about how it's changed? I would be lying if I said that I wasn't. I guess a little peek wouldn't hurt. It's still my bedroom! I step into the room and close the door behind me. It's like stepping into the past. The room is exactly as I left it. It seems completely untouched. Moments later, Delora is standing before me in her human form. Looks like someone's been dusting in here. Strange, considering no one should remember who this room even belongs to. I glance around, eyes wide. Everything looks the same. Put the fabrics that I'm carrying down on my bed and make my way to the shelf where my dolls are displayed. My eyes pause on a specific doll. Hello! This one was not here before. Oh, is it Emerlane? Delora raises an eyebrow. Maybe you just don't remember that one because she wasn't very memorable. You do have a lot of dolls, after all. No, I know each of my dolls by name. This one is definitely new. She looks very familiar to the dolls I saw at Fiorga's shop. I quickly turn at the sound of the doorknob. My eyes move to Delora, but she's already turned into a doll and tucked herself into a corner of the shelf with the rest of my dolls. Emerlane stands in the doorway, eyeing me curiously. Hi! Gaia, what are you doing here? I made a mistake, and I thought I was supposed to bring these fabrics here. I hope she's not see through my lie.
Emily shakes her head, smiling. It's not your fault, Gaia. You're still getting used to the palace and its many rooms. I got lost here all the time when I first arrived, too. This room is interesting, though. Father expressly ordered that it be kept clean, but otherwise undisturbed. Why would he say that? Oh, he knows. Oh, he knows. Shoot. He won't say why, but apparently this room is very special to him. Maybe it belonged to someone he cherished? Cherished? What a joke. Still, I cannot help but feel hope at her suggestion. I don't think Father would like either of us being in here. We should leave soon. I only came here to put a ribbon on one of the dolls. One of the dolls? Yes! I've put one of my dolls here. She walks past me to pick up the doll I did not recognize. I bought this. I know Emmeline always visited Viorica, but I did not think she liked dolls. She always preferred receiving and buying books. So why does she have this doll? Do you like dolls? Well, I mean, I don't mind them, but I don't usually buy them for myself, no. So why did you buy this one? Emmeline looks at the doll with a sad smile and shakes her head. I'm not sure. I bought it as a gift. I remember that much. I was going to give it to someone who liked dolls, someone I wanted to befriend. I don't know why, but it feels right to leave the doll here until I can remember whom I'm meant to give her to. Oh, Emmeline! We love a kind-hearted queen. Emmeline is silent for a moment before she turns to me with a bright smile. I know you have a delivery to make, but could you come with me to the palace entrance first? Mother's still busy talking with the cooks, so the fabrics can wait. I resist the urge to glare at her. She better not be dragging me around to do yet more errands. I'm expecting a delivery and I might need your help. I thought so. I have no choice but to nod. Of course. Begrudgingly follow Emmeline toward the entrance, and there I see the delivery carriage. A familiar person stands beside it. Viorica! Emmeline pulls Viorica into a tight hug. I turn my attention away to glare at the number of boxes at the back of the carriage. I will no doubt have to help carry them inside. How are the preparations for the ball coming? Emmeline's smile seems forced at first, but then eases into something softer. It's going well, I suppose. How about the wedding? Desmond and I have finalized the date. It will be 2 days after your ball. I can't wait to see you in your wedding dress. These two always talk so much when they get together. I ignore their chatter as I walk up to the carriage to observe the boxes piled inside. What's in the boxes? Oh! Viorica reaches out to grab one. She hands it to me. I'm helping with the ball decorations I come by with part of the order today. Part of it? Careful, it's a bit heavy. I take the box from her hands and nearly stumble. This is heavy. Emmeline should have the male servants do this. Queen Ophelia placed quite a large order. I brought the more fragile decorations first. Oh, the glass baubles and vases? I grit my teeth as I shift the box in my arms in an attempt to make it easier to hold. I thought you worked at a toy shop. Yes, but we also have aisles dedicated specifically to party decorations. What kind of toy shop is that? Gaia, will you be alright? I feel annoyance simmer within me. I'm obviously not alright. Emmeline reaches out to help me with the box, but she's too late. I've only taken one step forward when the box slides, and I stumble, and I manage to cradle it in my arms, but its weight is too much for me. Oh no! Before I hit the ground, I feel strong arms around my waist, pulling me back upright. The box is taken from me. Felix? No, it's Raj! No! Ow! Ow! Owie! Just bashed my face into the side of my chair. Ow! Jeez. Okay, back to it, I guess. Ow. My heart and mind are racing for a moment, and for a moment I cannot comprehend what just happened. Are you alright? Rod? I glance to the side and I'm shocked to see Rod standing there.
The expression on his face gives nothing away, but with our close distance I can see some flicker of emotion in his bright eyes. Concern? I am. Gaia, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? Rod pushes me and I stumble forward, almost tripping on the ground. He raises an eyebrow at me.
Know your limits, Gaia.
Jesus!
I glare at him as anger begins to bubble up in my chest. Bubble up! Stay silent. He helped you. He's just concerned. He's concernicus. Let him be concerned. I clench my fists and take a deep breath to try and calm myself. I will not stoop to his level. He's the one being cruel here, not me. What? You've made the right choice. Thanks. You shouldn't have stubbornly tried to carry something that was too heavy for you. I will not take responsibility if you get hurt.
Rod, you shouldn't be angry with her for trying to help me. It was my fault for giving her something so heavy.
Viorica, what are you doing here?
Rod's voice is still cold. Viorica looks startled by his tone. I only came to deliver some of the decorations for the ball.
And you thought Emmeline and her maid could carry these things on their own?
Rod, this is not her fault. I'm the one who chose to bring Gaia with me. I underestimated the size of the delivery. Viorica was just delivering the supplies. She admits her mistakes. Never thought Rod would be so stubborn. Emmeline's expression softens as she looks at her brother. She looks sad. Rod ignores her and picks up the box that I had been carrying. He begins to walk away before he suddenly stops and glances back at me.
Come on.
Rod?
We're going to call some servants to carry these boxes in.
He turns around and begins to walk away. I am Emmeline's personal maid, not his. I glance at Emmeline, who nods her head. I really am so sorry. Thank you for helping my brother, Gaia. I curtsy ever so slightly before running after Rod. Rod, wait! He picks up his pace as if trying to lose me. I turn the corner and barely stop myself before running right into Rod's back.
What now?
Why are you so angry at me today? I've barely even spoken to you.
Your mere presence is enough to darken my mood.
I glare at him and cross my arms. Funny. You call me cruel, but right now you are the worst. You are worse than I ever was.
I don't need someone who hasn't even managed a single good deed to lecture me.
I have to try very hard to resist the urge to slap him. You were supposed to help me get a good deed.
As I said before, I never agreed to this. I still refuse to help you.
Rod starts walking again and I hurry after him. I cannot help but recall how cold he was with Viorica earlier. I thought they were friends, but he treated her like this at the toy shop too. Why are you so angry with Viorica earlier?
No reason.
I raise my eyebrow when Rod quickly answers the question. Then you were cold for no reason. You have such a princely disposition. Rod frowns, but has no rebuttal for my words. You must be generally cold and unfriendly.
Excuse me?
So I'd explain why you treated Viorica as you did. I'd thought that you two were childhood friends.
Viorica was always closer with Emmeline than to me. We may have been friendly once, but we've since become distant.
Distant?
It's none of your business.
I pause as we pass by my door, remembering that I left both the fabrics and Delora inside. I make my way toward the door and open it.
What are you doing?
None of your business. Enjoyed your field trip? I frown when I see her sitting on my bed in human form. What would you have done if it wasn't me? Us witches have a sense for these things.
Delora?
Rod slowly enters the room.
It's nice to see you here, Lady Delora.
Nice to see you too, little Sebby.
Why are you here?
Delora shrugs as she inspects her nails. I thought I would help the princess here since someone doesn't seem very willing. Rod furrows his eyebrows at her.
I didn't...
Yes, I know. You didn't sign up for this. But do you really think you have a choice, Rod? Delora looks at Rod pointedly. You know the consequences if this fails.
Rod looks away, expression conflicted. Consequences? What are you talking about? Consequences for not helping me with my curse? Rod sighs heavily before turning back to Delora. He does not pay attention to me. I am not the right person for this.
Doesn't matter what you think.
Princess thought you were, so suck it up and do your job. Rod is silent for a few moments before he finally faces me, looking resigned. I will help you then, but don't expect me to change my opinions of you. I shrug at him. It's not like I was expecting you to in the first place. Delora grins with clear triumph. Good talk. Rod sighs. In order to achieve your good deeds, you're going to need to mend what you broke before. I mean, I already know what he's going to say. My sister's always wanted to be your friend, so you must do just that. Show her kindness and you may be able to get your first good deed through her. Show her kindness, huh? And that seems like a great place to end this episode because I'm a little lightheaded from reading too much. Whoops-a-doodsies. I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.